He had a woman at home who would have walked through fire for him. She cooked his meals. She prayed for his success. She stood beside him when he had nothing. No job, no money, no direction, nothing. And the moment he became something, he looked her in the eye and chose someone else. This is the story of Adaeze and Chukwuemeka Nwosu. And I promise you, by the time this story ends, you will never look at loyalty the same way.
Lord, I pray for my husband. Protect him, guide him, and fill his heart with your peace.
Amen. Thank you.
Adaeze was 24 years old when she married Chukwuemeka Nwosu. Everyone in her family had an opinion about it. Her mother said she was too young. Her uncle said Emeka, as everyone called him, was too unsettled. Her older sister Grace pulled her aside the night before the traditional ceremony and asked her one question. Just one. Are you sure about this man, Ada? And Adaeze had smiled the way only a woman completely certain of her heart can smile. I am sure, Grace, she said. I am completely sure. She was sure because she had watched him. Not the version of him he showed at parties. Loud, charming, filling every room with laughter. She had watched the private version. The man who called his mother every Sunday without fail. The man who stayed up until 2 in the morning studying for his professional certification exams while working a day job that barely covered his transport. The man who, when he had nothing, still managed to make her feel like she was standing in the middle of something good. She married him in 2011 in a ceremony that was beautiful precisely because it was simple. No excess, no performance, just 2 people and a promise. What came after the promise was not simple at all. The first 3 years of their marriage were what her mother later called the building years. Emeka had his certification now, but the jobs were not coming the way he had hoped. They lived in a 2-bedroom flat in Enugu that belonged to Emeka's uncle, paying a rent that was more charity than market rate. Adaeze was teaching at a private secondary school, English and literature, earning enough to keep them fed and the lights on. She never complained, not once. When Emeka came home frustrated, and in those years he came home frustrated often, she fed him, listened to him, reminded him of what she saw in him that other people missed. When he wanted to quit and take a government job that paid steadily but killed every ambition he had ever had, it was Adaeze who sat across from him at their small kitchen table and said, "You did not study this hard to settle. Don't settle, Emeka. Not yet." He did not settle. In 2014, he landed his first real contract, a facility management consultancy job with a construction company expanding its operations in the southeast. It was not glamorous. It involved site visits and long drives and weeks away from home, but it paid. It paid well enough that they moved out of the uncle's flat and into a place that was theirs. Adaeze stood in the empty living room of their new apartment and felt something so complete move through her that she had no word for it. This was what she had been building toward. This was the life she had chosen and stayed for and believed in when staying and believing had cost her something. She had no idea that this apartment, this new beginning, was also the beginning of the end. When success changed him. Success, when it comes to certain men, does not simply change their circumstances. It changes their eyes. By 2016, Emeka's consultancy work had expanded. He was no longer taking single contracts. He had registered a company, Nuosu Facilities Management Limited, and was managing multiple clients across 3 states. He had a small team, he had an office, he had a car that was not borrowed or leased but paid for and fully his. He also had a phone that he had started keeping face down on the table.
Adeze noticed. She was the kind of woman who noticed everything and said nothing until she was certain. She was not the type to make accusations she could not support. She watched. She waited. She continued to be exactly the woman she had always been. Present, warm, steady, loving. While something cold and quiet grew in the space between them. The trips became longer. The explanations became shorter. The Sunday calls to his mother, the ones he had never missed in all the years she had known him, began to slip. Once, then twice, then 3 times in a row. His mother, Mama Nosu, called Adeze instead. Ada, the old woman said carefully, "Is my son well?" "He is well, Mama," Adeze said. "He is busy." "Busy," Mama Nosu repeated. And then after a long pause, "Ada, keep your eyes open." That was all she said. Keep your eyes open. Adeze kept them open. What she found, slowly, carefully, without drama, was a woman named Blessing. 26 years old, a sales executive at one of Emeka's client companies. Beautiful in a loud, obvious way that was everything Adeze was not. She was not subtle about it either. By early 2017, people who knew Emeka professionally had already seen them together. Business dinners that were not business, hotel lobbies, a weekend in Abuja that Emeka had told Adeze was a client meeting. Adeze found out about the Abuja weekend from Grace, who had heard it from a friend who had seen Emeka and Blessing at a hotel rooftop bar on a Friday night, looking like nothing in the world could touch them. She sat with that information for 2 weeks. She did not cry in front of anyone. She did not confront Emeka. She did not call Blessing or search her social media or do any of the things a woman in pain is expected to do. What she did was call her cousin Obiora, who was a property lawyer in Lagos. And she asked him one question. "Obi," she said, "if a marriage ends, how is property divided in this country?" Obiora was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Ada, what is happening?" "Just answer the question," she said calmly. He answered the question. She listened carefully. She thanked him. She ended the call. And she began slowly, quietly, methodically to prepare. The night everything broke. Emeka told her on a Wednesday evening in March of 2017. He came home later than usual, smelling of a cologne she did not recognize. And he sat down across from her in the living room with the posture of a man who had rehearsed what he was about to say many times and was still not fully ready to say it. He told her about Blessing. He used careful words designed to sound reasonable, even kind. He said the marriage had run its course. He said they had grown in different directions. He said he hoped she would understand. He said he would make sure she was taken care of. Taken care of. Adeze sat across from him and looked at this man she had chosen at 24
and carried for 6 years and believed in when no one else did. She felt something move through her. Not the explosion of grief she had expected. Not the rage she had perhaps deserved to feel. Something quieter. Something that had been waiting a long time to arrive. Clarity. She looked at him for a long moment. Then she said 7 words. Emeka, you cannot afford to leave me. He blinked. He actually laughed, a short, uncomfortable sound. Ada, what does that mean? She stood up. She picked up her bag. She walked to the bedroom, packed what she needed for 3 days, and came back to the living room. Call your lawyer, she said. I have already called mine. She walked out. He watched her go with the expression of a man who has just heard a language he does not recognize and cannot decide whether to be confused or afraid.
He should have been afraid. What she had built while he was busy. What Emeka did not know. What he had never thought to ask about because he had never imagined he would need to know, was what Adaze had been doing with her teaching salary and her quiet, disciplined life for the past 6 years. She had been building. Not loudly, not in ways that announced themselves. While Emeka was expanding his company and filling rooms with his charm and his success, Adaze had been carefully, steadily, legally building a foundation that no amount of charm could touch. In 2013, using her own savings, she had purchased a small plot of land in a developing area outside Enugu. The price then was low. The area has since grown. The land was now worth 7 times what she paid. In 2015, she had taken a part-time evening diploma in financial management, not because anyone told her to, but because she believed a woman who understood money was a woman who could not be easily discarded. In 2016, while Emeka was busy with Blessing in Abuja, Adaze had quietly completed the legal documentation on a second property, a small commercial space she had been purchasing in installments for 2 years, and transferred it fully into her name. Cousin Obiora had handled everything cleanly, legally, completely. When the divorce proceedings began, Emeka's lawyer reviewed the matrimonial assets and presented what he believed was a complete picture. It was not a complete picture. Obiora presented the full picture. The land, the commercial property, her personal savings, her contributions to the household during the years Emeka had nothing. Documented, calculated, valued. 6 years of school fees they did not have children to pay, redirected instead into quiet, consistent investment. Emeka sat across from his lawyer after that meeting and could not speak. His lawyer, a careful man who had seen many divorce cases, looked at him and said very quietly, "She was prepared, Emeka. She has been prepared for a while." The settlement that followed was not what Emeka had imagined when he sat in that living room and told his wife he was leaving. The company, Inosu Facilities Management Limited, the company Adaize had encouraged him to build when he wanted to quit,
The company she had supported with 6 years of her salary and her presence and her unwavering belief was subject to a claim she was fully entitled to make. She did not take the company. That was not what she wanted. What she walked away with was enough. More than enough. A settlement that reflected 6 years of documented, legal, undeniable contribution, and a woman who had known her worth long before anyone else in the room did. What happened next? Blessing moved in 3 weeks after the divorce was finalized.
Emeka stood in the house that felt different now. Quieter, emptier, smaller somehow, and tried to locate the feeling he had expected to feel. Relief, freedom, the lightness of a new beginning. It was not there. What was there instead was the particular silence of a home that has had all the warmth removed from it. No food waiting. No voice asking about his day. No woman sitting at the kitchen table with a book, looking up when he walked in with the expression of someone genuinely glad he was home. Blessing was young and beautiful and completely uninterested in the version of Emeka that needed encouragement. She had come for the version that was already successful. She had no framework for the version that came home tired and uncertain and needed someone to remind him of what he was worth. Within 8 months, the fights began. Within 14 months, Blessing was gone. Emeka called Grace, Adaze's sister, on a Tuesday evening. Grace answered because she was surprised enough to be curious. "I need to speak to Ada," he said. "Why?" Grace said flatly. "I made a mistake, Grace. I need her to know." "Emeka," Grace said. And then she said nothing else for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was not cruel. It was simply final. "Ada is not available. She is busy living her life." She ended the call. Adaze had taken the teaching position she had been offered at a university in Lagos, a role she had quietly applied for during the divorce proceedings. Another move she had made while everyone around her was focused on the drama of endings. She had moved. She had settled. She had built something new in the way she had always built things. Quietly, steadily, without asking anyone's permission or waiting for anyone's approval. She did not know about Emeka's call to Grace until weeks later. When Grace told her, Adaze was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I hope he is well." That was all. Not anger, not satisfaction, not grief. Just the complete, untroubled peace of a woman who had already moved so far forward that looking back required more effort than it was worth. She had a lecture to prepare. She had a life to live. The contract, the unspoken one, the one made of 6 years of loyalty and belief and sacrifice, had been honored. Not by him, by her, for herself. Adaze never begged. She never made speeches. She never warned him what was coming. She simply built, quietly, legally, completely, until the day she no longer needed anything from a man who had stopped deserving her. Some people will watch this story and say she was cold, calculated.
that a loving wife should have fought for her marriage. But here is what I want you to think about. She did fight for her marriage. She fought for it for 6 years. With her salary, her time, her sleepless nights, her unwavering belief in a man who was still becoming something. The only thing she refused to do was fight for a man who had already decided she was replaceable. There is a lesson in this story that I want you to carry with you. Never, never let anyone make you feel that your loyalty has no value. It has value. And if the person you give it to cannot see that, life has a way of showing them exactly what they throw away.
God bless you for watching. And now, I need you to answer something for me honestly. Question 1. Was Adaeze wrong to prepare herself legally while still in the marriage? Or was she simply being wise? Drop your answer below. I want to hear from you.
Question 2. Some people say a woman who plans her exit before she leaves is not a real wife. Others say any woman who does not protect herself is a fool. Which side are you on? Comment right now. And this last one, be honest. If Emeka came back today, truly broken and truly sorry, should Adaeze have taken him back? Yes or no? Comment below and tell me why. Let's talk about it. Before you leave, I need you to do 3 small things for me. Number 1, hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second and it means everything. Number 2, share this video on your timeline. You never know whose life your share will touch today. Number 3, drop a comment below. Answer my question honestly. Was Adaeze cold and calculated? Or was she simply a woman who knew her worth? Comment yes or no and tell me why. Every comment, every share, every like helps this story reach someone who needs it. And if you are not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a story. I bring you a new one every single week. Stories about real life, real love, real consequences, and the kind of wisdom that only comes from going through something. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. And as always, God bless you and everyone you love. I will see you in the next one.
God bless you for watching. And now, I need you to answer something for me honestly. Question 1. Was Adaeze wrong to prepare herself legally while still in the marriage? Or was she simply being wise? Drop your answer below. I want to hear from you.
Question 2. Some people say a woman who plans her exit before she leaves is not a real wife. Others say any woman who does not protect herself is a fool. Which side are you on? Comment right now. And this last one, be honest. If Emeka came back today, truly broken and truly sorry, should Adaeze have taken him back? Yes or no? Comment below and tell me why. Let's talk about it. Before you leave, I need you to do 3 small things for me. Number 1, hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second and it means everything. Number 2, share this video on your timeline. You never know whose life your share will touch today. Number 3, drop a comment below. Answer my question honestly. Was Adaeze cold and calculated? Or was she simply a woman who knew her worth? Comment yes or no and tell me why. Every comment, every share, every like helps this story reach someone who needs it. And if you are not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss a story. I bring you a new one every single week. Stories about real life, real love, real consequences, and the kind of wisdom that only comes from going through something. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. And as always, God bless you and everyone you love. I will see you in the next one.